So here's a question to start us off. In a world absolutely drowning in information, are we actually starving for wisdom?
Hmm.
It feels like we're just constantly bombarded, doesn't it? Every day there's, a new article, another
Different
trend.
perspective, yeah.
Exactly. And you can learn, almost anything online now. Quantum physics on YouTube, ancient philosophy, practically free.
It's incredible access.
But are we really navigating this huge ocean of data? Or are we just sort of treading water?
That's such a critical question. And it leads us right into today's deep dive.
Which is all about Robert Bauer's idea of a nexus point. Looking at it as maybe a navigational tool, something to cut through the noise and find real insight.
That's a powerful way to frame it, yeah.
Yeah.
This deep dive is all about exploring that exact idea, a nexus point, a place where different kinds of knowledge, different ways of understanding, they converge.
And create something new.
Exactly, something new. And our source material for this comes from a really thoughtful introduction to a new show, Nexus Nextcast.
Created by Robert Bauer himself. He's a philosopher, a technologist, a curator too. Clearly someone who's thought a lot about this modern problem, this information overload.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what's really compelling, I think, is the mission here, both for his work and for our deep dive today. It isn't just about piling on more information.
Right. We have enough of that.
We do.
Yeah.
Instead, the goal is to help you, the listener, develop, better questions. Because as Bauer points out, and it's such a key insight, the quality of the questions you ask that really determines the quality of the insights you get back.
That feels incredibly relevant right now.
Yeah.
This feeling of information overwhelm, it's so real. We have all this access, unprecedented access to data, but it doesn't always feel like it leads to deeper understanding, does it? So when you think about that paradox, what does Bauer really zero in on?
He argues pretty strongly that we've often confused the raw information itself with genuine understanding, data with actual wisdom. Information, in his view, is just, it's raw material. Think of it like a giant warehouse.
Yeah.
Maybe packed with building supplies. You've got lumber, bricks, wiring, everything.
Got it. All the stuff.
All the stuff.
Yeah.
But without a blueprint, without a personal vision for what you're actually trying to build, maybe a meaningful career or a fulfilling life, those supplies just sit there.
They don't become anything on their own.
Right. So wisdom then isn't about just gathering more supplies, more information. It's about knowing what to build and, maybe more importantly, why you're building it.
It's about transformation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Transforming that information to insight and then hopefully that insight into wisdom.
So it's not about the sheer quantity of what we consume, but what we do with it. And Bauer suggests consciousness is the key here. Not just being aware, but what was it? Being aware that you're aware.
Precisely. That capacity, being aware that you're aware, that's what allows us to take a step back, to get out of that constant, overwhelming stream of information. And from that sort of vantage point, you could start asking those crucial questions. What does this actually mean for me? How does this connect to things I already know? Or even, what new questions does this raise? Things you haven't even thought of yet.
That ability to step back and question seems vital.
It is. And Robert Bauer really digs into this whole paradox, turning data into wisdom in his book, Informatica.
Okay, so if distinguishing information from wisdom is the challenge, how do we actually forge that wisdom? This is where the nexus point concept comes in, right?
Yes, exactly. And the word nexus itself is quite revealing.
Where did it come from?
It's Latin, from nectar, which means to bind or to connect.
Okay, to bind.
So a nexus is fundamentally a connection point, a place where different things, different elements come together, and crucially, they create something new, something greater than just the sum of its parts. It's where synthesis happens.
Makes sense. And Bauer identifies 4 specific types of these nexus points, places we should be looking for connections. What's the first one?
The first is the nexus between different disciplines. This is a big one.
Like,
Well, think about neuroscientists collaborating with philosophers about consciousness, or physicists talking with metaphysicists about the nature of reality, historians informing modern challenges.
getting people out of their silos.
Exactly. The most interesting, the most profound insights often happen outside those traditional academic or professional silos. It's when experts step out of their narrow focus and start connecting the dots across fields.
That makes a lot of sense. You see it in big breakthroughs, right? Like decoding the human genome. That wasn't just biology.
Not at all. It needed huge advances in computer science, statistics, even ethics played a massive role. That's a perfect example of a nexus point in action. It revealed something far bigger than any single field could have managed alone.
But it sounds challenging, too. I mean, how do we actually do that? Step out of those silos when often our structures academia work kind of reinforce them.
Well, it really starts with curiosity, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And a willingness to just look beyond your own immediate boundaries, to ask who else is thinking about this problem, maybe from a completely different angle.
A shift in mindset. Okay, so beyond connecting disciplines, what's the second type of nexus point?
The second type is the nexus between knowing and being.
Knowing and being. Okay, what does that mean?
It means moving beyond just, intellectual understanding. It's not enough to just know something in your head. It's about embodying that knowledge in how you actually live your life.
Ah, okay, so applied knowledge. Living the wisdom, like the difference between reading about compassion
And being compassionate.
Yeah.
Exactly. It involves exploring actual practices, not just theories, and often drawing from wisdom traditions, practices that have been tested and refined over, millennia of human experience.
Right. Time-tested ways of living. And the third,
The third nexus point is the connection between individual transformation and collective transformation.
okay, the personal and the global.
Yeah. How does our personal growth, the changes we make in ourselves, actually contribute to positive change in the wider world? How do we find that balance between our own inner journey and our social responsibilities?
That's a huge connection to explore. Okay, and the fourth nexus point. You mentioned this one connects the ancient and the modern.
Yes, and this one feels particularly relevant right now, especially with how fast technology is moving.
AI and all that.
Precisely. We're living in this era of just unprecedented technological change. AI is reshaping almost everything, yet humanity has been grappling with these fundamental questions. Who am I? Why am I here? For thousands of years.
So this nexus is about bridging that gap.
It is. It explores what happens when we bring ancient wisdom traditions into a meaningful conversation with cutting-edge tech. For example, how might you apply Stoic philosophy to manage your digital life, your relationship with social media?
Interesting.
Or how can we apply these really time-tested principles of human flourishing to the unique challenges we face in this digital age?
So seeing the connecting threads across time, across technology. Before we dive deeper into that AI piece, you mentioned Robert Bauer also talks about thought streams. What are those?
Right. Thought streams. He describes them as meditative soundscapes. They're designed to create a space for the mind to wander a bit, to discover. It's an invitation to step back.
Step back from the noise. He uses that analogy of the mind as a river, right?
Yeah, it's a beautiful analogy. So often we feel completely swept away,
Yeah.
caught in the current of thoughts, information, sensations.
Totally.
This practice encourages you to imagine stepping out of the river, onto the riverbank.
Okay, so you're observing the flow.
Exactly. From that riverbank, you can just watch it all go by without being pulled in. You start to notice patterns, maybe see how different streams of thought connect or diverge. You can appreciate the movement without feeling like you have to control it.
That sounds peaceful.
It can be. And this spacious awareness, as Bauer emphasizes, this is where wisdom often emerges. It acts like your own personal nexus point, or maybe a home base, connecting you to a deeper kind of intelligence.
That riverbank image is really helpful. I can almost feel that calm just thinking about it. But, practically speaking, in our crazy busy days, how do we find that riverbank amidst the constant emails, notifications?
Yeah, it's not easy, but it's about creating those small pockets, intentional pauses, even just for a few breaths. It's really a conscious choice, sometimes moment by moment, to shift from being consumed by the thoughts to simply observing them.
A deliberate pause.
Now let's maybe tie this back to that ancient and modern nexus point, specifically focusing on artificial intelligence, because that's such a massive topic right now.
It absolutely is. And maybe one of the most potent nexus points we're currently living through is exactly that intersection, AI and human consciousness.
Didn't agree more.
And Robert Bauer, through his company Sesextech, which focuses on human-centered AI, he's actively developing something he calls Assisted Interrogated Intelligence, or AII.
Assisted Interrogated Intelligence. Okay, what does that mean in practice?
Well, the core idea is designing AI systems not to replace human thinking, but to enhance our capacity for deeper inquiry, to help us ask better questions.
So it's not about the AI having the answers.
Not primarily. Think about the ancient Greek concept of maieutic.
Socrates. the midwife of ideas.
Exactly. Socrates didn't just give people answers. He asked questions, questions designed to help them discover what they actually already knew, just maybe at a deeper level.
Right, helping them give birth to their own understanding.
Precisely. And the goal here with AII is for the AI to function in a similar way, to help us formulate better questions, maybe identify our own unconscious biases or thinking patterns.
Spot connections we might be missing.
Yes, all with the ultimate aim of amplifying human wisdom, not replacing human thought.
So AII isn't about getting quick answers from a machine, but about shaping the questions we ask in the first place. That really shifts the whole paradigm of how we think about AI, doesn't it?
It does. It moves it from just an information provider to a tool for deeper self-reflection and inquiry.
What are the broader implications of thinking about AI that way?
Well, it raises really important questions about how we should develop these powerful tools. Bauer suggests it becomes almost necessary for engineers to understand philosophy.
And philosophers need to understand technology.
Exactly. And maybe both need to have some understanding of what spiritual traditions have discovered about the nature of mind and awareness over centuries.
Because technology ultimately is what?
Yeah.
Amplified human intention.
That's how Bauer puts it. Technology amplifies human intention. So the real question isn't just about how powerful our tools are becoming,
but whether we have the wisdom to use them well.
That feels like the central challenge for our time, doesn't it?
It really does.
And this whole pursuit of wisdom, this deeper inquiry, Bauer suggests it's something best done not alone, but in conversation with others. He really emphasizes genuine conversation, not debate, but inquiry.
Yes, that's absolutely central to his philosophy. Real conversation as shared inquiry, not just arguing positions back and forth. It's about genuinely exploring important questions together.
And he talks about the people drawn to this kind of conversation as fellow travelers.
Individuals who are all on some kind of journey of discovery, even if their specific paths or maybe their ultimate destinations look different.
And these fellow travelers, they come in a few different flavors, right? Explorers, thinkers,
seekers.
That's right. No. So explorers are the ones who love pushing into new territory. It could be science, philosophy, art, consciousness study.
Down boundaries.
Yeah. Then you have thinkers. They're the ones who really enjoy wrestling with complex ideas, finding hidden connections, solving intricate puzzles.
The pattern finders? Kind of, yeah. And then seekers. They're often driven by those deeper perennial questions of meaning, purpose, spiritual understanding.
So you have these different types, explorers, thinkers, seekers. Given those distinctions, what actually brings them together? What's the shared belief or conviction that unites these different kinds of fellow travelers?
Well, what unites them, I think, is this really profound conviction that the conversations we choose to have, they actually shape the world we end up creating.
Wow. The conversations create the world.
In a very real sense. They deeply believe that how we think together truly matters, and that the quality of our collective future is directly tied to the quality of the questions we're willing to ask and hold together.
So it's not about arriving at the right answer necessarily.
Yeah, no, not at all. It's much more about developing the shared capacity to hold difficult questions, to hold them with courage, creativity, and compassion, learning how to think together in ways that actually bring out the best in each of us.
That's a really powerful vision for how we might navigate this complex, information-rich world by actively seeking out these nexus points and engaging in these kinds of meaningful conversations.
Indeed. It really all circles back to how we engage with knowledge, yes, but maybe even more importantly, with each other. It's really an invitation to shift our whole perspective.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you, our listener, with a question directly from Robert Bauer himself. It's one to really sit with, maybe live with and explore. What would change in your life if you approached every conversation, every piece of information, every challenge as an opportunity for deeper understanding?
And just to clarify, that deeper understanding he's talking about, it isn't about finding a single right answer.
Right.
It's more about developing a richer, more nuanced, and ultimately maybe more compassionate relationship with the profound mystery of existence itself.
That's a beautiful way to put it. If you want to explore more of Robert Bauer's work, his books like Informatica, The Vibe, I Am Who, What's Your Why?
His meditative soundscapes too, the thought streams.
Yes, and his music, his technology projects through Sysex Tech, you can find all of that at robertbauer.com.
And just remember, the goal isn't really to have all the answers.
No.
The goal is to develop the capacity to ask better questions.
And the very best questions. Well, those are the ones we explore together. So keep exploring, keep connecting.
And keep questioning.